have any effect on Kodiak.
It just seems so preventable. It was such a tragic accident.
Severe contamination from oil, and the oil was 8 or 12 inches deep, and you could see it like a little snake-like pattern along the top of the beach line.
We're scrambling to get a contract on the oil spill cleanup.
Life is life, and we tried to get as many birds as possible.
May 1989, 2 months after the unacceptable wreckage of Exxon Valdez, Kodiak residents protested for a cleanup program because Exxon ignored the idea. After the protest, Exxon finally instituted an oil cleanup for Kodiak, Alaska. Despite the time blemishing the surface of the beaches, what was beneath it?
My name is Fred Baristoff. I'm a longtime Kodiak resident.
I'm Natasha Hayden.
My name is Toby Sullivan, and I live in Kodiak, Alaska.
My name is Dawn Leah Black. My name is Jane Maria Eisman, and I've been in Kodiak for almost 40 years.
My name is Ann Cusick. My husband, George, and I came to Kodiak in 1971.
Friday on March 24, 1989, Exxon Valdez tanker hit the rocks on Blight Reef.
Exxon just sort of ignored the idea that people in Kodiak wanted to have a cleanup. But then, some fishermen had a meeting on May 25th, 1989, and they wanted to have Exxon have a cleanup, and they knew that Exxon didn't want to have one, so these fishermen decided to have a protest. And they organized a protest march for all the people in Kodiak to march from the high school down to the Oscars Dock where the crab festival was. And about between 500 and 1,000 people marched down the street carrying signs that demanded that Exxon have a cleanup program. The next day, Exxon came back and they said, oh, we're going to have a cleanup program. There was a big cleanup program that was instituted by Exxon. And they hired a company called Vico to manage the cleanup.
They set up an office downtown where Harborside Coffee is now.
Some people got contracts to work on the cleanup and they made money, and other people didn't get contracts to work on the cleanup and they didn't make money.
I went down to the local Vico office in Kodiak here, and I signed up, became an employee.
First 3 females hired in Kodiak.
I ended up being part of the oil spill cleanup. I was very thankful to get a job that got me through the summer.
I was involved peripherally in the cleanup after the oil spill with the bird washing.
I was involved in the cleanup effort because when the fishery was shut down in Kodiak, we were out at my fish camp in Uganic Bay.
We ended up walking beaches all over Kodiak. We would remediate a beach where we would take shovels and essentially dig up the oil mousse, they called it back then, and we would put it into these white plastic bags.
We got to deliver mail and groceries to all the different task forces around Prince William Sound. They were fighting the oil spill like a war. So my job was cruising around on a boat and loading and unloading freight and making people happy.
Live on different fishing vessels that had been chartered by Exxon. Take workers out to remote areas where oil was reaching our shores, the Kodiak coastline, and to try to clean it up.
What we did, we had these like big wash tubs, and they used some kind of dish detergent. One of us held the bird, and the other one really tried to scrub this oil off the feathers.
And collect all the dead animals. There were many thousands of dead animals.
So we wiped rocks for about a month and a half every day. And in August, Exxon decided that everything was clean enough to stop the cleanup effort, and they shut it down. There was still oil out there, and there were still oily rocks.
They were defining progress as how much beach you cleaned, and we were defining progress as how much oil we were pulling out of the spot.
Human beings didn't clean up very much of that oil. Most of that oil eventually went away by natural processes. It evaporated it, and it just went away. And I think if there had never been a cleanup effort, 20 years down the road, 25 years down the road, it wouldn't have made much difference.
The cleanup wasn't really about results, it was more about the effort.
So a lot of people in Kodiak that summer were under a lot of stress because of those things.
How long will it take for all the oil to disappear? After 25 years, did cleaning part of the oil spill help the environment in any way?